A new report that demonstrates clearly President Trump is succeeding in making China pay for most of the trade tariffs. European researchers now saying American consumers and companies are absorbing only 4.5% of those tariffs, of the 25% imposed on $250 billion of Chinese goods. The remaining 80% of those tariffs are being paid by China. And joining me now to talk about the very tense U.S.-China relationship, and one that doesn't seem to be improving, Gordon Chang, author of The Coming Collapse of China and the Nuclear Showdown. Gordon, good to have you here, and welcome back from Tokyo. Good to see you. Let's start with first these targeted tariffs that the president has implemented, and more to follow if the Chinese do not come to their senses. I mean, this has to shock places like Goldman Sachs and the establishment forces that have been lobbying against these tariffs. Your thoughts?
All the smart people who talked about how the American consumer was going to be the one paying for all the tariffs, well, they're wrong. And this is because the administration obviously picked out those areas where there was a lot of elasticity, and that's good. You know, the important thing is that...
There goes Gordon using the economics word. I was just saying today, very few people talk about the elasticity, that is the ability to substitute goods or to delay purchasing them based on price.
Yeah, the important thing here is that when you look at the broader picture of the tariffs and the other things that the Trump administration is doing, is he's actually encouraging supply chains to get out of China. Right. And that's important for us because those supply chains are held hostage by Beijing. Whenever they get upset about something, and it's often not about trade, they go against our companies.
And sometimes we use the words supply chains are used too liberally when the word really is production of products themselves in China and a dependence upon China for that production. That's got to change, obviously, as you say. Some other things have got to change. One is it's a communist government. They have expansionist, and that's being kind. They have colonial, it seems at times, but certainly imperial imperatives within their foreign policy that they seem to be shocked that an American president would resist, as this one has.
Yeah. Well, Xi Jinping, for more than a decade, has been dropping hints that China is the world's only sovereign state. And this is just basically what he's saying is that Americans, Japanese, whatever, you know, are just mere subjects to the greater glory of the Chinese court. You know, the important thing for us is that those trade that we have, you know, our factories in China are producing profits that China is then using to put into its military, which is configuring itself to fight Americans. And so there's a long chain here, and it's not just economics. It's also, of course, security, because China needs an enemy, and they've identified us.
Well, they've identified us. We shouldn't have been too hard to spot because we are the only superpower in the world. This is a country under this president that is not recognizable to the power structure in Beijing, is it?
No. One thing that President Trump has done, especially this year, is he's taken actions to defend the American economy, defend American society. Chinese leaders don't know how to deal with this. So they try to talk to Henry Kissinger. They go try to talk to the heads of financial companies. And nothing
the establishment. Wall Street has been carrying out what the vice president referred to as a lobbying exercise, calling Wall Street and American CEOs participating in the Chinese call for discussions and talks, unregistered foreign agents. And by God, that's exactly what they are. And kudos to the vice president for saying it exactly the way it is.
Yes. And, you know, we saw that September 16th meeting in Beijing before the midterms. Obviously, the Chinese were trying to use the heads of the big financial
they still are
against the United States. And it didn't work. And right now, the people in Beijing
it hasn't
are scratching
worked
their
so
head.
far, only because the CEOs didn't take them up on the offer, but they dispatched their minions from the, in some cases, from the C-level offices of their banks and firms. You know, this is an ugly thing we're watching. We're watching propaganda being organized against this president's policies. We're watching the establishment try to subvert the president's policies on China, on international trade, and the idea that this stuff that's been circulating from the establishment, whether it's at the Council of Foreign Relations or it's the Chamber of Commerce, Wall Street, we need quick wins here after the midterms. Well, the president's got a quick win. He won the Senate, for crying out loud. He is accomplishing more, and now they want to try to talk their way, insinuate themselves into this president's administration, and to get him to, in some cases, dilute or even abandon policies that are certain to be effective.
Yeah, the most important thing here is that these tariffs that people talk about, they're imposed under Section 301 of the Trade Act of 1974 as a remedy for the theft of intellectual property. The NSA last week just came out with a report said that China's theft of U.S. IP for commercial purposes is actually increased over the last year. We saw that report just a couple days.
When's the last time you heard of one of the front companies being shut down by either the FBI or any intelligence operation of this agency of this country? You haven't. You haven't heard it. We know that for years they've been operating, literally thousands of front companies working through our universities as well to what? Gather intellectual property by the hundreds of billions of dollars they steal every year.
We just got that report that Micron Technology, their most recent chip, has been completely stolen by the Chinese. That was $8.95 billion worth of IP, just one theft, and it's occurring across the board, Lou.
And these idiots, and I will call them what they are, they're traitors to the United States. Every one of these people trying to reverse this president's policies vis-a-vis Beijing are betraying this country, and they're doing so for the most sordid of reasons, and that is their own commercial interest. Gordon, great to see you. Thanks for being here.
Thanks, Lou.
As always.